It's a self-sufficient core. You can get him ahead, and it's one of the few that could just kind of be in lane against Tide, never really feel pressure. Great synergy with the Beastmaster.
Don't look at me.
It's just solid drafting from Navi. I'm just surprised they were given their comfort zone. I understand you've got answers to Beastmaster, but it just blows my mind that they were willing to give it to General again in the second phase. Because there's something to be said, like, there's a lot that goes into drafting, but as a concept, you've got to consider three main things, which is
5 seconds
how does my lineup match up against my opponents? But more importantly, it's two things. I lost the third. I always say there's three things, even if there's only two sometimes. How does my team enjoy playing my heroes? And I guess how does the other team enjoy the playstyle and heroes I've given them? And in this case, yes, Timberstone might be a better matchup, but General Beastmaster and what it does for Navi and how comfortable he is on the hero outweighs a minor difference in individual hero matchup, because it gives them what they want, gives them what he wants. Who cares if it's countered?
I feel like, Navi surely is going for like a Kunkka here. Like super frontline. Okay, I mentioned tower damage earlier, but I'm thinking now, like if you move away from the towers and go for the fight, where is Gambit's early damage? They're lacking so much. They have good control, they have good presence, but like there's not that explosive damage that really is going to pick apart the supports in Navi.
Radiant team pick.
Oh, let's go for mid. Okay.
The Iceberg Doom coming out.
Now suddenly Tidehunter feels real sad. And BKB timing on Doom is just unstoppable.
And the Morph
into Doom?
Very greedy also with Wraith and Morph.
Oh yeah, that is really weird. Well,
Purge, you're first. Sorry.
If they can just go even and delay the game, yes, Monaco Gambit should be able to win. But yeah, it's a little greedy. Morphling against Doom is actually kind of cool though, because Morphling's gonna have such huge base damage. After our first couple levels, outside of like getting Doom and killed, I think he should be able to outlast it Doom. Maybe outfarm.
I think this lane goes pretty well for Morphling, just for the fact that you have good right click. You always waveform it out. Of course, you have the fact that you can Doom the Morphling later in the game, but you have the Wraith King as well. You've got this Tidehunter. Like, there's so many heroes that you want to Doom. The eventual greed will work well for them, but again, it's greed against Navi. Navi have high pressure, so
the concern is have we seen no one play Morphling like in his career? It's not his typical hero. They would put Ramses on it and he'd go mid.
He has played before. He likes like the bottle rush Morphling. He has tried it out, and it has had some good success, but it's simply just a very greedy lineup.
Purge, final words. Are we going to see game 3?
No. It's over. GG.
Oh,
everyone go home.
All right, going to a break. More adverts, please.
No, not yet, Kyle. Okay, so what needs to go absolutely right for AS Monaco Gambit?
Their lanes have to be advantageous. They can't make plays. Like Tidehunter and Wraith King are going to be rotating around. Like they don't have a natural way to enter the mid game from the lane. They want to extend the laning phase and have it be an advantage for them, and somehow deal with this Doom Chen that are going to run around the map at each catapult wave.
Yeah. They have to defend their towers early on. When you have the Morphling and the Wraith King, they eventually will scale really well. Morphling does exceptionally well against Lifestealer. You just become him, have rage. But if you lose your early towers, you lose your jungle, not enough space.
All right, it's all about the early game, all about the laning stage. Let's see how this second game is going to play itself out together with Cap and Fogged.
Well, Fogged, you called it. You told me Iceberg Doom. And that's exactly what it turned out to be. Do you feel good about that prediction, seeing the Morphling as an attempt at a counter on the other side? I don't know how I feel about it.
Yep, I think it looks beautiful. I was just like screaming, I'm in my chair just like messaging JJ too, messaging him like they're 100% picking Doom here. It breaks the whole lineup. If you Doom the Tidehunter, there's literally zero team fight on ASM Gambit versus a heavy pressure lineup that's going to be coming out from Navi. I'm very concerned, I'll be totally honest. I feel like if the lanes start going poorly, I don't know who's going to make space. Because Morphling and Wraith King, they soak up so much space if they start to fall behind at all. And then the whole game is going to be dependent on this Tidehunter's movements. And that's where I feel like Doom's game is just... Because then it's a Tidehunter walking into you. You're getting given the opportunities to go for these Dooms. So I'm pretty sad for ASM Gambit, but at the same time too, if they can weather that early game, if they can weather that mid game, then they do scale incredibly hard. Morphling, Wraith King, they will get to a point where they are ridiculous. The Morphling turns into Lifestealer, gets free rage and all that, but they have to get to that point. And versus Beastmaster Chen, it can be very hard to play for these groups.
So this all starts for AS Monaco Gambit. In order to be able to win this game, it all starts with the lane, right?
Yeah.
Like, don't they have to have Tidehunter against the Beastmaster? Isn't that like required here?
At least they do have the CM and... Wait, sorry, what was that? Apologies. The Beastmaster, or the tie versus the Beastmaster, you're saying, right?
Yeah.
The battle
Like, CM can actually help a little bit too. So I think these lanes are okay. And they also, then they're going to have the Mirana versus Chen, so they're getting those matchups. Seneco actually goes for the Nova level one instead of the Bite, so they actually just get the board deny.
Yeah. Good play by
Wanna
Fly Nord. It's going to be playing kind of as the 4 position here, seeing as he's not really overlapping disables just a tad bit here, and Always Wanna Fly will get out. But the fact that they gave General Beastmaster again and then grabbed 3 cores that all need farm. I mean, they lost that last game within like the first 10 minutes, you know? Like, I'm concerned about them getting run over again in the first place before the Doom was even picked down. Then it just makes that much worse.
Has been killed.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. I can't believe how they just went so greedy. But I know that it's an old school like VP thing that they used to think about. That's why I feel like it had to have been no one asking for this, because they used to do this all their games. They saw Doom picked and they would instantly respond with more. That used to be a like true staple of VP. So maybe he just really wanted to have that matchup. Maybe he feels like he can do a lot in the game too. At the lane, you know, it can go pretty well for him, so maybe he can transition and be that space maker as a Morphling. I'm not seeing it so much, but maybe he sees it a little better, what plays he can make and punish around them.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how he functions as this mid Morphling, as no one does have a career of playing that a decent amount, but surprisingly, he actually doesn't have that positive of win rate. He's actually 22 games, 50% exactly. So,
okay.
Considering the fact that obviously no one has a much larger than 50% win rate on most of his heroes, considering his success on Virtus Pro. Nice flood there for Generals. He comes across and he gets the courier. Alrighty then.
God. Always Wanna Fly just baited the hell out of Seneco with a Fairy Fire. He really thought he had him. Gets played. At least they did pull the Beastmaster out of the lane, so we're seeing Wraith King farming really well. So that's one fortunate thing that we are seeing for Gambit.
Nope.
Look, another one.
Get that Rubik kill anyway.
The hell was Always Wanna Fly doing stepping back up? Didn't he have like 1 HP?
Yeah, kinda. That was a close call. V2, I think they know he doesn't have rage, so they tried to get the Gush arrow onto him and might have been able to kill him. It would have been a close call. He still has 5 stick charges to... it seems like this top lane's going pretty well. I wasn't sure if that was going to be good for a Tidehunter, this new Lifestealer. I'm not sure how that matchup goes, but it seems to be all right.
Yeah, it seems like I'm seeing Navi liking the matchup a lot in comparison to what it used to be. You know, Open Wounds isn't a spell anymore, so your passive actually works really nicely versus Tide.
All right.
Another... Oh, what the...
Always Wanna Fly just cannot seem to keep himself alive in this series, so... Another Crystal Nova into the Rayfire Blast, and it gets very deadly when you start getting those higher levels of crit up on the Wraith King.
Yeah. Always Wanna Fly, remember, you're the 4 position in this game. You know, Roger, he's the 10 player for your team. Seen the battle up top, the Blightstone plus the Gush going versus V2, and it is working pretty well. That damage is starting to push him away. Wonder if he gets the Chainmail to start just to counteract that minus armor.
Yeah. Chainmail. Wonder if you consider... Yeah, the rate levels as well. Icebergs. Yep. Very close call. No one trying to make those trades because it is very efficient with the mid Morphling with the bottom build.
Yeah. Iceberg always finds the Alpha Wolf. Every game that we've been casting him, he always is able to find either the Alpha Wolf or he gets the Ogre Creep. He's always able to find it. So it doesn't seem like RNG at this point. Is V2?
Rage gets used here. The arrow's going to go out. It will be dodged by V2.
Radiant are scanning.
But I saw that 2 salves in his backpack for the Mirana, so they are well prepared to keep up this pressure onto the Tidehunter, or onto the Lifestealer.
Yeah, and so far so good. You know, looking at the last hits especially, they're doing a good job right now of he's putting pressure. Morphling is free farming, getting those extra denies too, so he'll have a good level advantage over Doom, and he will slow down Iceberg's game. So this is exactly what ASM Gambit does need to do in the game, at least to start here. Get advantage lanes, advantage in the lanes, and then make something happen. So you don't fall behind versus Beastmaster, who take over the game.
Iceberg still doing a pretty good job when it comes to CSing. Morphling. It's a bit behind, but not by that much, and he'll probably get the level 6 around the same time, and then he can start becoming a real threat to the Morph.
Yeah, no one just has to be quick on his fingers to get that morph off. Iceberg can play around the tree line, though. That's one thing that always does catch those morphs off guard. He'll just get the Doom from out of vision for a second. I feel like they've been doing a good job, Botto, of killing the boars, too. I keep seeing these like tips and Seneko playing aggressive, so I think they're actually slowing down General quite a lot down here. His book 1 is still almost finished, though. 5 minutes, so it's going to be early anyway.
Wonder how much regen they've been ferrying out for the Wraith King. It seems like they've been pretty liberal in the usage of the Wraithfire Blast. They've kept it at level 1, so its mana cost is rather low, but still, I would have to imagine maybe just a 1 is, I guess, would be enough.
Might be. CM also, that's the... I feel like if you play CM, you want to buy like 10 mangoes or something in the laning phase just to feed to yourself, feed to your teammates, because your spells are expensive. And that's really all CM... That's the way CM is the best, it's just your laning phase. That's why she's been being picked so much, because of how powerful the 2 spells are combined. So, feeding mangoes, and we're seeing that slow coming in. You can't... There's no open wounds. That constant slow is very annoying for a Tidehunter.
Yeah, especially when you add 2 more slows on top of it, both the Ghost and the Vul there. Applying its poison, waveform over, keeping the pressure up on Iceberg, seeing if they can do as much damage as possible to the tier 1 tower. Meanwhile, bottom lane is a mess of skeletons and boars and Necronomicon minions. So it's full-on zoo out here, and it's a zoo that apparently Dream is the zookeeper of. Getting another kill in this lane and is now level 6.
Seneko gives his life. He kills the book so that his Wraith King can persist and push forward. I like that little sacrifice play. Iceberg threatening that Doom onto no one over and over again.
Keeps on faking it.
And yeah, there's the chainmail picked up. So V2 not being as much harassed, but hey, he is getting slowed down. Tidehunter able to free farm it, able to farm pretty nicely, and Wraith King, he's getting more than free farm, getting all these extra kills for himself now. But the book is applying some pressure on him.
I always want to fly. He's gonna die again here. The Fate Bolt goes out. Is not enough damage reduction to keep him alive and Dream. He does have mana to work with here, so Iceberg's rotation is all for naught.
Dire structures.
And no one can just beat on the tower with his illusion rune. Immersion's also in the area too. He can beat on it too. That is a pretty failed rotation for sure. And that's, yeah, ASM Monaco, this is exactly how they should be playing the game. This is the dream for them, really. Having Wraith King and Morphling getting this farm with this greedy draft, 2k advantage already. And of course, Iceberg gets the deny. Nicely done.
Down by about 500 compared to his counterpart. Iceberg. Dick somewhat close to even here. The big difference, though, is between Wraith King and Lifestealer.
Yeah. Book 1 gets summoned. They just frostbite it in place. Dream kills it off and gets an extra 50 gold for himself, too. They're done. Super early on, already killed 2 Necro minions.
Yeah, it's amazing. I guess like boars, CM is really interesting in this matchup because if you kill enough early boars, they give up so much experience. You get the higher levels, you get the higher levels, you get the higher levels of the aura, and then you can just spam even more, killing more boars.
Yeah.
It's a weird kind of cycle that you can go through.
Yeah, and Seneko is instantly biting that, red Necro book, that melee Necro book every single time. So it just gets killed right when it's summoned. It's actually just giving gold. General might just wait till the 2nd level of it before he does send it out again. But still, the same thing's gonna happen. He's gonna get bit, probably just killed immediately. So they have to play aggressive with it right away if he does summon his book from now on. Seeing no one making the first move out of the mid lane.
All right, this is going to be quite the combo. They're going to have the Ravage into the arrow. It does land. Very nice. AS Monaco Gambit for a big kill, and no one's rotation is not only going to help them get the carry kill on V2, but also take this tower. Oh my.
That is large stacks here.
That makes it even more concerning, though. If they take this tier 1 tower and they start, invading into the jungle a little bit, if Tide finds those stacks, then that's going to be disastrous for Navi.
They're swinging over, and the thing is, too, is Navi, who clears those stacks at a fast speed, has a fast speed. They don't have a Shadow Fiend, they don't have a Titan or anything like that. It's a lot harder and a lot slower for them to clear in comparison.
Immersion.
Immersion.
Pop, pop, pop. He's trying to stay ahead of V2. V2 is slightly faster, though. We'll get that final swipe to get the kill. So the supports, both supports on the side of Gambit do end up going down here, but I believe the knowledge, I think they're aware of this. Let's see how Iceberg is able to clear through this. No one's in the area, so it looks like they are going to be fine. They are going to get all this.
All right, nice. And they just used the Scorcher to kill it off. So that's the best AoE spell that I guess they did have to be able to clear it. So he'll have a good timing on his drum anyway.
Yeah, only able to do one of those camps, though. Take another round. There's another small chance that maybe no one is in the area and takes some of that precious.
Dream already has an armlet done, and that is unbelievably fast. Faye's armlet, it's 10 minutes. He's over 550 GPM at this point on this Wraith King. That is a fantastic start for them. With what felt would be a pretty decent pressure lane versus, but the CM Wraith King, they persisted very nicely versus this Beastmaster.
Yeah, that certainly helps. They've taken 2 tier 1 towers already, but there's potentially a third one on the market here. I mean, Wraith King is such a natural at being able to pressure the lane that he's in. They managed to get another successful team fight in this bottom wave, especially with Siege Wagon coming in. That could be yet another tower, and Dream, he may even peak all the way up to 600 feet.
Dire structures.
Yeah, with the greedy draft, they're the ones who are actually dictating the pace and able to pressure the lanes and towers. You know, the Beastmaster lineup's not able. The Beastmaster Chen lineup is the one who's getting their tower sieged at the moment. Always want to fly. We'll arrow the catapult to at least slow it down. But again, there's the book too. Another melee necro book does go down. Another 100 gold. Really good stuff for Gambit right now.
Trying to deal with the Chen army as well, man. It is so valued that they have 2 supports that can just kill either Necronomicon minions or Chen army. Like, just got very low committal ways to be able to clear through some stuff on it.
And they're putting pressure on all the lanes. Afterlife is pushing in mid. They're still pushing bottom slightly versus the Beastmaster. And no one, he's taking all the space for himself. It's a really good Morphling game if he's able to get away with this. The biggest threat for him is really just Doom. He's not really a threat of these constant stuns or disables. No silences besides that Doom either. So yeah, he's got a pretty free game if he's able to get this farm. And yeah, they've weathered the storm of that early game, which definitely is a bit concerning here for Navi now going forward.
Radiant's middle tower is under
attack. Like they're kind of setting up there, seeing if they can get V2. He goes up into the high ground. Let's talk about Lifestealer a little bit. I'm sure you watched the Enigma versus Viking GG series, right? That was where we saw. Bottom lane. They do manage to catch Chris. Nothing made. What is sort of the timings of the new Lifestealer? What are we looking at?
He has this decent thing where he can get his Maelstrom. It's this exact timing that he's going for, this like S and Y plus Maelstrom thing, where you do feel strong when you're fighting in these long duration team fights. But he still is a little bit weird. He definitely feels like a stranger actual carry at the moment. Because he's not like this big instant damage or anything. It's just like long duration team fights. If you don't die, you're able to thrive. You're not versus these counters. But he is versus some counters. You know, that Morphling can man fight versus him, unlike the Wraith King.
Only a 2,000 net worth lead, thanks in part to all these stacks that Roger has been doing. So Iceberg, a really big comeback. His net worth is about even with the Morphling. TP down to the bottom lane with the stolen arrow. Always want to fly. He's going to try and TP out, but an arrow in turn from Immersion is going to put a stop to that. And now, oh my goodness, General,
what the Steve?
Yeah, what was he doing here? This was some wild attempt to be able to catch somebody around the tier 2. I'm not sure if he was expecting like Morphling kill when he's like full agility underneath tier 2 tower or what that was, but either way, they both died.
That's 4 deaths now for the Rubik. 4 out of the 7. Again, always want to fly, just giving up a lot this game. And their Chen, Roger, he's been very quiet. He's just been sitting back, kind of stacking, not really looking to make any plays. Yeah, 7-5, 2K advantage. Navi, under the gun themselves now, as this Ravage is a big threat for them.
Afterlife still needs another 1,000 gold for the Blink Dagger, but he is still plenty farmed with the Orb of Corrosion, plus the addition of the Morbid Mask. When you're matched up against the Master Chen heroes that have, again, so much stuff on the ground, an Anchor Smash is a really big source of regeneration.
wow, they're actually going to try to go for this Roche. If they get this Roche, that's going to be really problematic for Navi. I don't know how they're going to be able to defend versus these pushes that are going to come out when Afterlife is set up around his team. Their team fight on Navi, it's strong if they get the Doom on the Tide, but if they don't get the Doom on the Tide, the team fight is just going to be a disaster. And Afterlife, he knows this. He's positioning himself far on the left side.
General. It's going to come into the side. They've got the vision of Afterlife here, so they kind of see a way to fight, but they can't really pull the trigger on it, apparently. They're just going to have to give up the Aegis to no one.
Uh-oh. And look at no one's item build. He's preparing for getting doomed. Going for that status resist build. Just some nice stats, too. Yeah, no, we do see AS Monaco. They are setting themselves up for success in these next few moments of the game. Just keep applying this pressure, slowing down Navi's game plan, and the greed is really paying off.
You know, I haven't thought about this, but I guess with the new Satanic, or rather just purely the fact that it's not the old Satanic, Doom is probably a lot better in the game. Right? Because it was used to be everybody would just get SNY Satanic on all these carries because status was plus lifesteal. Pretty insane, but no longer have that same kind of option. Stolen Leap, but Always Wanna Fly doesn't have a whole lot of mana to work with. He's got 2 more charges. Stay away from the arrow. TP out. This time around, Always Wanna Fly will survive.
Seems like the first time he's actually survived the gank. As General is able to put some pressure bottom during that space being made, and they get to breathe a little bit as we will see V-Tune get some farm, and we will see Iceberg get a BKB. So now he has a little bit of easier access to walk into these fights, because as we do see, there's so many spells, so many different forms of control for that Doom just walking in. With BKB, he actually can pick and choose his target that he wants to go for. But he's playing into Aegis. Navi probably going to want to be a little bit hesitant about how they do jump, unless they see everybody pretty split up. Right now, Afterlife is all the way down bottom, away from his team.
Your king thinks.
Looks like a trade-off here, potentially tier 2 for the mid-tier 1.
Radiant's middle tower has fallen.
Navi, very happy to be able to take this tower, but they won't be happy if they lose out on the outpost experience at 20 minutes as they open up that tier 2. They definitely got to generate some sort of game plan for the next.
Allies disappear.
I guess the game plan is going to be Iceberg run at the outpost to zone them away with his BKB. That's Roger. He's found here by no one. The Roar doesn't have a Roger will take a conversion. While Roger does get chased out, he will bait the Hand of God. Okay, so he'll use Hand of God. Iceberg will get Senego. 2 supports down. 1.
Not terrible, but they can't keep fighting because of the BKB that is down, plus the Aegis that is up. And no one turning into the Rubik. Get him to toss back there. Telekinesis is enough for Afterlife to arrive. Train 2 for 2 for supports, and they can take that outpost back as they want.
V-Tune's gonna need a lot of time before he's ever able to actually fight in this game. It feels like versus the Morphling. They actually might be able to find Afterlife. Does get the blink away though, so positioning not too close to tower. But yeah, I feel like he's gonna have to wait until he honestly has like, if he goes for the SNY, it's like SNY Scotty Basher. Like the Scotty will help a lot if he's able to get it versus the Morph at some point, but no one's starting to prepare for all this too. He's just going for Butterfly, going for this dodge, that evasion versus the Lifestealer too, so he can stand toe to toe. Might be too much for V2 to deal with. The greed, as we said, is paying off for a Gambit. These 2 cores might be too much for the Lifestealer to actually deal with. So Iceberg is really gonna have to get these good Doom targets in the upcoming fights that will kick off.
Yeah, no, it's a little bit concerning that because you have this Doom Tidehunter matchup, they want to be able to get the Doom on the Tidehunter to prevent the Ravage, but then it does kind of mean that Morphling has sort of a free game in a lot of these team fights if the Lifestealer, as you said, can't address him with enough items.
It's just too many things that are going to be collapsing on. Like the Wraith King is farming too well as well. So now it's like, who does Iceberg actually really want to doom? You know, you never want to doom a Wraith King, but in a situation where he gets a reincarnate off, maybe you doom him afterwards if Tidehunter wastes the Ravage. There's just a lot of targets that they have to worry about now because of how this early game has gone.
Is under attack. Dire's bottom tower has
Dream is a big problem. Like I cannot. He is just so farmed on this Wraith King. He's been given absolute freedom in this game. Well over that 500 GPM.
Slowing down General, Senego. Fortunately, thanks to that Frostbite, he does have ways to deal with the warrior that was running at him. General's rapid escape out of here. It's forced a lot of rotations from AS Monaco Gambit up to this top lane. Left no one still here since he does still have the Aegis. Farmed up a bit of the trap. Not pushing himself too far out there.
Yeah, they pushed him out of the outpost. They're able to reclaim it there. They have 30 seconds to get it back on Navi. It's going to be really hard for them to actually swing over here with their book still on cooldown, I believe, for a moment. Most General isn't even walking up there.
They need a big pickoff, and maybe they've just got it with the arrow. A fast kill that is potentially going to trade out supports. Always want to fly is going to get gone on by Dream. Oh, that was a big crit that came through. TP out from D2, and then, yeah, Gambit, they just park themselves up here, ensuring that they will get that experience advantage off the outpost.
They're doing all the things right. It feels like Navi doesn't have a solution to this. You know, that early game going bad has really halted their entire idea of the game, and now they have to play into the greed. Like I was saying, V2, he has to wait for his next like 1-2 items, but that's playing into what ASM just wants to. They want to just be able to play the greed and play the farm. That's now they're able to pressure during all this too with this advantage.
Structures are fortified.
V2 pulling the creep wave back. They're going to pop the glyph here to deal with the next incoming wave and see with playing a bit greedy themselves and not forcing a whole lot of people to defend, seeing if they can get that tier 2 bottom lane. Rotations come in though from Afterlife and from Dream. They're going to catch Roger. Problem here is that crit. Not enough to one-shot in there at half health.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Yeah, now he just has to. This is the way that they have to play because of that early game. They're just splitting up. Iceberg now has Blink with the BKB, so he can jump in and pick the targets a lot easier. But still seeing that it's quite difficult for them. You know, V2, I don't think that he's just ready. I think he just really needs to wait, unfortunately, for a Scotty where he's actually able to fight toe-to-toe versus these two, because it's a pretty big pickup if he is able to get it versus the Wraith King Lifestealer versus the Morphin
Radiant's middle tower is under
It'll
attack.
actually make his damage look relevant in the fights, as it really does feel like they're going to be severely lacking damage as the book dies every single time, and yeah, I don't see where else the damage really comes from unless it is the Lifestealer.
Taking the outpost back, Sineko though immediately charging up here. They're going to pop the Moonlight Shadow, just seeing if they can slow down pretty much anybody or anything, I guess. General is going to be caught by Dream. Shows himself, casual 657 damage.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Good old M Claw.
Radiant structures are
fortified.
Well, they're going to see again if they can take this tier 2 bottom. They're desperate because once they do manage to take a tier 2, they can start taking that outpost, and it does help limit the kind of punishment that Gambit exerts. They do.
Dire's top tower is
They've
under
kept the
attack.
net worth decently close, but
Radiant's
you're seeing,
bottom
yeah,
tower
Gambit,
is
they're
under
feeling that
attack.
power spike, the Butterfly and the Morphling now too. They're just walking up on the high ground. They're forcing Navi back, and
Dire's
General's still
top
dead 10
barracks
seconds.
are under attack.
Yeah,
Navi.
seems like they're going to give up the lane.
Radiant's bottom tower has
I think they just might have to. I really feel like the Lifestealer just stands no hope of fighting until he does have that item picked up, and
Radiant's
this is
middle
just
tower
Gambit being
is
very
under
happy
attack.
about it.
Take the melee Baron
Dire's
and back
top
up
barracks are
Roger.
under attack.
Same as last time. May get got here as they try and leap in with the arrow.
Radiant's
Doesn't
bottom
quite
tower
get
is
it.
under attack.
His army is going to get...
Okay, how much gold from summons do we have now? Let's take a look. I've seen so many necro books, so many creeps die this game. I feel like they're just getting so rich.
Okay.
It's like a decent
649
amount of pets.
pets.
Shabby, not too shabby. CM getting a wow. CM's gotten a lot of those.
Dire
Another
are
1100.
Look at that necro gold.
Okay.
1100.
So we're at, what, 1800 now?
Yeah.
Afterlife.
Ooh, General. Ooh.
Not even sure if they could have done a whole lot to him, but might have forced out the Ravage or something. Meanwhile, Gambit gonna play for that second Roshan. That second Roshan there to maybe potentially end the game, as 2 lanes of barracks are gonna be pretty hard to fight back from. That's why Navi, this is a Roshan they must contest.
Can they get the Doom on the Tide is the question, or which target does Esper go for?
Okay, Ravage out of the Morphling, the Aegis is going to be picked up, and Promor actually knocks Dream outside of the engagement there, so they've just completely taken out the Morphling out of this, and now they're going to try and slow people down with no buyback on to no one. It's possible that Navi can continue this fight. They got to be careful, though, of that Ravage. Afterlife turns around, 2-man Ravage, catches 2 more on the outside, a 4-man there with the Starstorm coming in, looking to try and finish matchup, Iceberg, because he does manage to grab the cheese, eats that immediately, and Arrow pops over onto Dream, slowing him down, but now it's Navi who has to try and escape away from Gambit's wrath. Dream on the front lines, just chopping fools down. He brings 2 cores and a third in V2. He's going to start getting away. V2's actually going to pop back in here, see if he can get a fast kill onto Emerging, pops the rage, gets 1, drops the gem, doesn't manage to pick it up, but he had a TP immediately. A smart little play. Meanwhile, Afterlife went by himself.
Okay.
Nice
How
arrow.
did they get Afterlife? Yeah, I guess.
Always want to fly catching that one.
Okay, that actually doesn't make it that bad for Navi that they get that last cleanup kill there. Still showing that it's very tough for them to fight, even a 4v5, where they do have a cheese. And Dream, V2 can't fight versus him. He's not at that point. He doesn't have the items to be able to deal with this man, and it's going to take a couple more for this Lifestealer to actually be able to address this. And that's what we were concerned about, right? Like, he gets a phenomenal Doom, but there's a lot of other threats that Navi has to worry about because of how this entire 20-something minutes. That was the first Doom, right?
Yeah. That was, I remember a lot of pump faking of Dooms. I remember a lot of Iceberg rotations that didn't actually result in a Doom because Gambit was ready for it. That was the first Doom that I can recall, at least a useful one, a big one.
Yeah. Good.
Damn it. Oh, thank goodness he did pop the rage there. Otherwise, it might have been an awkward situation getting arrowed
Dire's
immediately.
middle tower is under attack.
V2's still too far behind these 2 cores to really be able to stand and fight them. Like, he needs Scotty, which we've been saying a bunch, but now it's also feeling like he needs the next item. He needs the MKB, because this evasion that's coming on 1-0, the radiance, just this miss is also being applied. It just feels like they can only kill the target. They can only kill a couple targets, depending on the Doom target. But these 2 other cores, they're always a problem. It's only one of the cores that you're going to be able to take out with that big Doom. The other 2, just, you don't have the damage to deal with it.
Go again. They managed to get the, this time he managed to get out the more strength, so it's going to be a hard kill here. But fortunately, the Lifestealer is very adept at being able to bring down these big tanky targets as he's kicked on top of. But V2, he went in, but now he's got to get out, but he doesn't have it infest. The Primal Roar goes down. V2 running for his life to the right-hand side. Arrow isn't going to land, but he doesn't manage to stay alive just a little bit too much. They kill some of the backline here. Sineko's going to be the first one to fall here. Iceberg moving up to the left-hand side, hoping to be able to dodge and get his blink off, but the Radiance is sticking to him. They're not going to let him get away. Not with the gem that was dropped on the ground. They pick that one up, and Dream will continue to take this by himself, apparently. They say, yeah, they can deal with the Morphling, as you pointed out, Vlogs, multiple times, so there's multiple threats on the board.
Yeah, good, great early game, honestly. That was the biggest thing. I think bottom for Navi went way too chaotic. Rubik and the Beastmaster just giving up a insane amount of gold, really, to Dream, and just enable him to get, what, this insanely fast armlet, a very fast Radiance, and then there's too many threats.